Good morning, children. This is Anrut Tiwari, Mount Ritrazi School, Jhansi. In the previous section, we discussed about the second chapter, in which we were reading the typical structure of flower. Angiospermic flower. Flower is a reproductive part, as I told you earlier in the section. Okay, and there I told you the four parts also of flower: sepal, petal, calyx, corolla. That means sepal, petal, and androecium, that means male reproductive part, which is also known as the stamen, and gynoecium, the female reproductive part, or also known as pistil. So now in this chapter today we are going to start with the first section of flower. 1, 2 you already know, sepals, petals, their work you already know. Now we are starting with the main part of flower, male reproductive part, and after that we will read again one more main part of flower, female reproductive part. Today we are going to talk about the male reproductive part of plant, or stamen, which also converts into microsporangia afterwards, and microsporangia produces pollen grains. So this everything and the structure we are going to talk about today. We are starting with the stamen. Earlier in the section I had told you that stamen has two parts: filament, long, and anther. Now here in anther, one more thing I must discuss. Anther is a bilobed structure. You must have seen anther like this on plants also. They are attached like this. Okay, so what is this? These are two lobes, 1 and 2. These are two lobes of anther, and each lobe, if you can see, it is separated. Each lobe has 2 theca, 1 2 1 2. Each lobe has 2 theca. That's why anther is known as bilobed structure, and every lobe has 2 theca. That is why it is known as diathecous or diathecous structure also. Diathecous structure also, diathecous. So each theca contains much amount of sporogenous tissue. Sporogenous tissue. When anther is young, each theca, inside every lobe there are 2 theca, and every theca is filled with mass of tissues known as sporogenous tissue, which ultimately, when start division, each theca, that means all 4 theca, and inside every theca sporogenous tissue is found, and sporogenous tissue converts into microsporangia. That means after division, when it becomes mature sporogenous tissue, in each theca it develops sporangia. That means every theca becomes sporangia. Sporangia is a place where pollen grains or microspores will be produced. Microspores or pollen grains, both are the same things. They will be produced. So inside each theca, sporogenous tissue converts into sac, and including all 4 sac, 4 microsporangias are produced. Now, if we talk about only one sac or one microsporangia, there are 4 microsporangia. If you cut this theca like this, then you will see the transverse section of one anther like this. So we are here, the structure which I have made is a structure of only one section, that means of one theca only. Only one theca structure I am going to show you here. In this, the outer layer is known as epidermis, the inner layer is known as, after epidermis, is known as endodermis, endothecium. The next layer is known as middle layer, and the next layer is known as tapetum. And the next, these cells are known as microspore mother cells. They will produce pollen grain. These will produce microspores or pollen grains. That's why they are known as microspore mother cells after meiotic division, meiosis. Now, when these mother cells will be producing pollen grains, they need energy. So that energy or nutrition comes from tapetum. Tapetum provides nutrition to developing microspore mother cells into pollen grain. Middle layer, endothecium and epidermis, they are protective in nature and they protect anther. Now, when microspore mother cells produce pollen grains, how pollen grains look like? Now we are talking about the structure of pollen grain. One pollen grain has two layers, exine, the outer layer, intine, the inner layer. And it has inside two cells, one bigger cell known as vegetative cell and one small cell known as generative cell. Vegetative cell contains one nucleus, a floating nucleus, and generative cell also contains a nucleus. This nucleus again divides into two. So there are two nuclei in one mature pollen grain. Now exine is most powerful structure in pollen grain. It is made up of sporopollenin, a kind of organic material which is known to be the toughest on this planet Earth. It can tolerate most extreme environments. So sporopollenin is toughest organic material known on Earth. So exine is made up of that. No enzymes can destroy sporopollenin or exine of pollen grain. Intine is a regular cell structure which is not so powerful like exine. Now the first cell, vegetative cell has much cytoplasm and one floating nucleus, and it provides energy to the generative cell. Vegetative cell's work is to provide generative cell energy. Now what is the function of generative cell? Generative cell contains nucleus, male gamete. We have been reading about sexual reproduction where the main pre-fertilization stage means formation of gametes or gametogenesis is the main part. And after gametogenesis, one male gamete, one female gamete is made. They both fuse and zygote is formed and zygote develops into young one. So this is sexual reproduction, and we are talking about the sexual reproduction in flowering plants. So here the first gamete is produced. In ovary, female gamete will be produced. Here in male stamen, male gamete is produced. So this generative cell contains male gamete. There is one pore also found, generative pore. Okay, here all around pollen grain exine is found, but at this particular place from where germination of pollen tube takes place, that means this male gamete comes out, that at that particular part sporopollenin in exine is not found. So this part can be broken and one tube like structure comes out which is known as germ tube or pollen tube. So this is complete structure of pollen grain and this is complete structure of stamen, and we were talking about male reproductive part of plant. Thank you very much.